This is a 5-judge bench case, and it's called Shebrulu Leela Prasad Rao and others versus State of Andhra Pradesh and others. It was obviously a constitution bench judgment because 5 judges were there, and it is about reservation. It is about the Schedule 5 area, which is given the constitution, and it came because it affected the rights of Adivasi people, basically the human rights, anti-tribal rights. Activists, they have started campaigning against this judgment and they filed a revision already. So this is under revision. And there were no such extraordinary circumstances to provide 100% reservation in scheduled areas, as it is I find it is an obnoxious idea that tribals only should teach the tribals. That's what the happened when they provided 100% reservations. And so I don't really support that idea. And when there are other local residents, why they cannot teach is not understandable. And the actions basically, the actions, whatever happened in this judgment and previous to that, basically defies the logic, and it is really arbitrary. So merit cannot be denied in toto by providing reservations. So let's see what happens whenever the judgment is out after the revision. But for our purpose, we'll have to go through this case because this case is an important case under reservation. We have other cases for reservation, so I'll be dealing with this case first, and then we'll look into other cases, BK Pavitra, then Janelle Singh, and then Davinder, and all others. Okay. So I'll briefly tell you what are the facts of the case. Not really that important, but just for your purpose, I'm just going to read it out. Not in examination, the facts will not be asked. And I am assuming that you all have your bare acts with you, and just open the Schedule 5 of the Constitution so that there wouldn't be any problems and I would have to explain it again. And we would be able to complete this case today itself. Okay, so just keep it open on your, if you have the bare acts, or on laptop or computer, whatever way you prefer it. Okay. So the brief facts of this case are, by way of a government order, not necessarily the government order number, the governor of Andhra Pradesh, in exercises of his powers under paragraph 5(1) of Schedule 5 of the Constitution, okay, directed that all the posts of teachers in educational institutions in the scheduled area shall be reserved for the scheduled tribes. Okay, so that's what government did. They said that all the posts of the teachers in educational institutions in the scheduled area, they should be reserved for scheduled tribes and nobody else. Okay. After that, another government order came in. It was issued, and it directed that non-tribal can hold the post till the time educated tribal people are available. Okay. So first they issued this order that they said that the reservation should be given to all scheduled tribe people. Another order came in which said that you can give the post to non-tribal people, but they can hold that post till the time they find educated tribal people. Okay. Then as the employment of some non-tribal teachers were terminated, they filed a case in High Court. Obviously, non-tribal teachers were teaching there, and because of this, they lost their job and they filed a case in the High Court. They had the judgment in their favor. Then the non-tribal teachers appealed in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court favored the non-tribal teachers. So they got the judgment in their favor. However, what happened, then government of Andhra Pradesh, they issued a fresh notification in the year 2000, again providing for 100% reservation for tribal people. So when it was challenged in the High Court held that scheduled areas were treated specially. and affirmative action taken was in the constitutional spirit. And the notification was a step for increasing literacy in the scheduled area. So 100% reservation can be sustained on the ground of intelligible differentia and nexus. This is the old doctrine. Okay. And there was a dissenting judgment also, which held that the government order was violative of Article 14 of the Constitution, and the same judgment was appealed in the Supreme Court. And that is how it came before the Supreme Court. So what were the features of, why this government order was important? We should know certain things in that order, like Parent Act was Andhra Pradesh Education Act 1982. Then Section 78 of the Andhra Pradesh Education Act 1982 provides for the constitution of educational services. This is important because this can be asked, like under which section the government order they issued and under which act. So you should be aware of this act. And Section 78 of the Andhra Pradesh Education Act, which provides for the constitution of educational services. Now, there is no reservation provided in the Parent Act. Parent Act didn't say anything about the reservation part. So, reservation is provided under Rule 22 and 22A of the Andhra Pradesh State and Subordinate Service Rules, 1996, framed under Article 309 of the Constitution. So, these 4 points are important from the exam perspective. Okay, so remember them. Now, what were the arguments for the appellants? Now, paragraph 5 of the Schedule 5, which confers limited power to the governor to modify the existing act alone. So, para 5 of the Schedule 5 says that the governor has got limited powers, and if governor wants to modify an existing act, then obviously those powers are limited. He do not have any unlimited powers under paragraph 5 of Schedule 5. So the power conferred under paragraph 5(2) of Schedule 5 provides for making regulations. And paragraph 5(1) does not provide for any legislative power. This is important. Paragraph 5(1) does not provide for any legislative power. Okay. So if you see the Schedule 5, it talks about the law applicable to scheduled areas. What it says, if you could just check your Bayer Acts. I'm just reading that out, Anuj, and because you will understand what is para 5 or Schedule 5 in the judgment itself. But please keep your Bayer Acts open, and I'm going to read it out because it's a Bayer Acts text. It says that notwithstanding any this in this constitution, the governor may, by public notification, direct that any particular act of parliament or of the legislature of the state shall not apply to a scheduled area or any part thereof in the state, or shall apply to a scheduled area or any part thereof in the state, subject to such exceptions and modification as he may specify in the notification, and any direction given under this paragraph may be given so as to have retrospective effect. And then the paragraph subclause 2, it talks about the governor may make regulations. So if you see here, I just mentioned that paragraph 5(1) talks about the limited power of the governor, and that's what the whole text says. Paragraph 2 talks about the regulation that the governor can make. And paragraph 2 says that only the governor may make regulations for the peace and good government of any area in a state which is for the time being scheduled area. This is important. He can make regulations only for the peace and good government. Okay. So in the judgment, you will find that specification. I'm not clear about your question, Devang, just if you can elaborate more. In particular, and without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing power, each regulation may prohibit or restrict the transfer of land. Okay, so they are talking about 3 things, like in what perspective the governor can, make regulations. So there are 3 things: either he can prohibit or restrict the transfer of land, regulate the allotment of land to the members of scheduled tribes, and regulated carrying on of business as money lender. Okay, so this is paragraph 1 and 2. So I'm not going into the bare text now because you will understand what these provisions are while teaching this, when I'm teaching this judgment. It's very close to that. Yes, that's correct, Devang. Please elaborate on peace. We don't have to go into the details of what is peace and good governance because it depends upon what governor thinks is peace. If there are any law and order issues and governor wants to make a peace in the area, or there are any turbulent situations, then there will be certain regulation that he may make. That is the subjective satisfaction of the government. That we cannot, like, I cannot tell you that what exactly he thinks of peace, but peace is in the literal sense that peace, if there are any law and order situations or any turbulent situations or any certain other situations are there which might inhibit the peace, then the governor has got powers under paragraph 2 of schedule 5 that he can make that. And his discretion under this, yes, he can act under discretion. He can act of course with his discretion under this. It is up to his subjective satisfaction. But he cannot just violate the text of the constitution. He has to stick to the constitution. Whatever given in that paragraph 5 is what the governor can do. Okay, yes. So now article 371D was promulgated to remove geographical disparities in the area of public employment in the state of Andhra Pradesh. So 371D is important for in perspective of Andhra Pradesh, and you all should need to remember this. So a presidential order made under article provided for local zonal reservation for different bases. It is called reservation in local area, and a person in a local area cannot apply for public employment in places outside his local area. So with the government order, when all the seats were reserved for the tribal, the non-tribal of the local area could not get opportunity for public employment. So now 371D was basically came into picture because there were certain geographical disparities when it came to public employment in Andhra Pradesh. So they got in this 371D to remove those geographical disparities. And what were they? Like they had this presidential order under this article, and which provided for local and zonal reservation for different bases. And they called this as reservation in local area. So if that person is residing in that local area, he cannot apply for public employment in places outside his local area. So they fixed the local area, and they said that within this local area, only the people residing in that local area can approach and get an employment, but they cannot apply for employment outside of that local area. Okay, so then a person in the then with this government order, what they did that all the seats they reserved it for tribal people. This is the disparity. This is the disparity that is there because of 371D and because of the Schedule 5. Because under Schedule 5, they said that government made an order to give 100% reservation to tribal people. But under 371D, they had this presidential order made, which said that only the people residing in that local area can apply for the public employment. Now, when you're saying that I am going to reserve this employment for tribal people, and I already have 370D article under which I have a presidential order which says that only localites of that particular local area can apply for the public employment. Now there is a contradiction, isn't it? On the other hand, governor is making an order on top of the order which was made by president under article 371D, which says otherwise. Like if in that local area, if there are non-tribal people residing, where will they go? If you're saying that that area is reserved only for tribal people, you are offering 100% reservation to tribal people. What about non-tribal people? They are not allowed to go outside of his local area. They won't be allowed to get an employment outside of his local area. Then then that's a disparity, right? So this, because of this, the conflict occurred, and the judgment will discuss that in the next part, and that's what is answer to your question, Anuj. So wait for the judgment to get completed, and I think all of your queries will be solved. So the present government order was made on the ground that non-tribal people did not attend schools in remote tribal areas, and hence there was a chronic absenteeism. Government order also said this very stupid reason that non-tribal people, they did not attend schools, and they did not attend school, they were not going there to teach students, and they were remaining absent. So that is the reason we are making it 100% reservation for tribal people. That's what the government order mentioned. Now, appellant says chronic absenteeism could not be a reason for 100% reservation. Obviously, that cannot be a reason, right? If people are remaining absent, you can take another measures, you can take other precautions, but you cannot say that just because they are remaining absent, I'm going to make 100% reservation for tribal people. So principle of merit could not be whittled down, and the idea of tribal children being taught by tribal teachers will compromise with the merit and quality of education. And they were also saying that these are the tribal schools, so tribal teachers are the best suited for this job, and that is the reason we want 100% reservation for tribals, which is not correct. That's what appellants are saying, and that's what judgment also says in the end. So Rule 22 and 22A of Andhra Pradesh State and Subordinate Service Rules 1996 were not framed by the legislature. And as per Schedule 5, Paragraph 1, Governor can amend law made by the legislature and not the subordinate legislation. This is very important. These Rule 22 and 22A of that service rule, it was made as a subordinate legislation under one parent act, which we have seen at the top. Okay? And paragraph 5.1 does talk about the act made by the legislature. It never mentioned anything about the subordinate legislation. That's what the appellants are saying. Okay, and let's see what the judgment says in the next paragraph. So remember that point. Now, new laws cannot be created as per paragraph 5.1. Obviously, it does not talk about creating any law, but it just talks about regulating and modifying. Okay, so new laws cannot be created as per paragraph 5.1 of Schedule 5 Act of 1997 of Andhra Pradesh provided for reservation, and this act was not amended. So there is a non-obstante clause in paragraph 5.1 of Schedule 5, but it shall not abrogate Article 371D. Non-obstante clause means whenever the provision starts with notwithstanding, that is your non-obstante clause. And why it is important in this case, in Chebrolu case, is because it is saying notwithstanding anything in this constitution. मतलब बोल रहे हैं कि चाहे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कुछ भी हो लेकिन तब भी ऐसा होगा, बट द अपीलेंट्स आर सेइंग कि उसका मीनिंग यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं है. इट शैल नॉट एब्रोगेट आर्टिकल 371D even though it is saying notwithstanding anything in this constitution, it does not mean that it will abrogate article 371D. We see what the judgment says in the next pages. So what were the arguments for the respondent? So the normal rule of 50% reservation can be relaxed in certain circumstances. That's what they are saying. And reservation can be made by executive orders. Reservation cannot be termed as anti-merit. So they are basically taking these arguments. Non-tribal person. No, according to this, the government order and the presidential order, here I have mentioned this part. They had this presidential order made under 371D, जिसमें बोला गया था कि एक लोकल एरिया रहेगा रिजर्वेशन के लिए और उसको रिजर्वेशन इन लोकल एरिया बोला जाएगा, तो उसमें सिर्फ वही लोग अप्लाई करेंगे जो उस लोकल एरिया को बिलोंग करते हैं, और वो बाहर के लोकल एरिया में पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट, ऑब्वियसली अगर वो पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं है तो वो कर सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर वो पब्लिक एम्प्लॉयमेंट है तो उनको उन लोकल एरिया में ही अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, वो एक प्रेसिडेंशियल ऑर्डर बनाया गया था आंध्र प्रदेश के लिए अंडर 371D. ठीक है. So now the purpose of Article 371D and Schedule 5 operate in different planes for different purposes. These are the arguments of the respondents. And paragraph 5 of Schedule 5 is an enabling law for the governor. So it gives legislative and administrative power to the governor. Paragraph 5 says, subject to exceptions and modification, confer a power to amend any. Firstly, the two constitutional provisions operate in distinct domains. Then Article 372 D was not enacted to be a superimposition on Schedule 5. Secondly, it is well settled that if the object and purpose of legislation or provisions with respective non-abstinent clause are distinct, the court would not see any conflict. Okay, so not very important arguments. So Schedule 5 is a complete code by itself. Just a second. Schedule 5 is a complete code by itself. It is not a case of reservation at all. It is a classification made to ensure that the schools in the scheduled areas function and promote the education interest of the tribal populace. The governor took cognizance of the general non-availability of teachers. नॉन अब्स्टेंटे क्लॉज से मतलब जहां पे भी आपका प्रोविजन स्टार्ट होता है नॉटविथस्टैंडिंग से, in that when you say something as notwithstanding anything in this constitution, which means that particular section or that particular article will surpass all other articles, वो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बनेगा और वो सारे आर्टिकल्स को अपने अंदर सबस्यूम कर लेगा, so that it will stand on its own. It will have an importance over all other articles. That's what that non-abstante clause says. Now, which basically just says that that article will have an importance over other articles. So in spite of anything that contains in the constitution, the Schedule 5 will prevail. That's what that statement says. Now, Schedule 5 is a complete code by itself. Respondents are saying it is not a case of reservation at all. It is a classification made to ensure that the schools in the scheduled areas function and promote the education interest of the tribal populace. The governor took cognizance of the general non-availability of teachers, and the notification by prescribing that the scheduled tribe teachers of the local area should be the exclusive component of the teaching element was looking at the local scheduled tribe teacher as the best possible tool for ensuring the educational interest of the scheduled areas. And historically, the scheduled areas were governed by special laws. They cannot be compared with areas generally administered by the act of legislatures. And special provisions have been made in Schedule 5. The order issued by the governor has to be treated as legislation. The application of laws is one of the recognized forms of legislation. The order of governor can only be tested on the parameters of competence and violation of the Constitution. It cannot be tested on the touchstone of ideal norms. It achieves the purpose of Article 46 of the Constitution. So just remember this article. I mean, just you will understand. I mean, once you've understood the arguments of petitioner, these arguments are very easy because they are going to say anything, everything that is in opposition to what the petitioner has already said. So Schedule 5 under Article 244(1) of the Constitution is a part of original text. So remember Article 244(1) as well. Legislation. The order of governor can only be tested on the parameters of competence and violation of the Constitution. It cannot be tested on the touchstone of ideal norms. It achieves the purpose of Article 46 of the Constitution. So just remember this article. I mean, just you will understand. I mean, once you've understood the arguments of petitioner, these arguments are very easy because they are going to say anything, everything that is in opposition to what the petitioner has already said. So Schedule 5 under Article 244(1) of the Constitution is a part of original text. So remember Article 244(1) as well, which basically talks about let me just open that article. Yes, 244, it comes under Part 10. It talks about the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas. It says that the provisions of the 5th schedule shall apply to the administration and control of the scheduled areas and scheduled tribes in any state other than the state of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. Do remember this article and do remember what it says, because they can ask you the question based on this. Some concept here in case study. I don't understand the concept, meaning of the concept here. Which concept would you like me to elaborate on?
Ma'am, some concept which are coming in the your PPT, your word file. Actually, you have to do bare reading of this document. So it's I'm just requesting to please explain some points for explanation kind of the way question coming in the examination, so we can connect this PPT this case. So
But
that's why I'm saying this.
I have already explained, right? I have already mentioned that what was the order. I have already mentioned what was the rule 22 and 22A. I have already mentioned what is the contradiction that happened. I already mentioned why they are saying that this is subordinate legislation. And yes, and arguments,
yes,
arguments of respondent and arguments of petitioners are not really important, but you need to understand the story behind the case. Once I will start with the judgment, then I would be in a position to explain the concept that you're talking about. Why am I doing the bare reading that I already mentioned in the beginning of the class is that I'll be reading the arguments for the sake of the class just to understand the story of the case, and then I'll be jumping on to the judgment, wherein if you have any doubts in the concepts of the judgment, I'll be going to that. But sometimes it happens that just mute yourself, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So sometimes what happens is that they can ask you articles from the respondents or the petitioners' arguments, because because that's something that we should know. Haritha, we don't need to know what is Rule 22, but they can just ask you the CLAT paper, if you would have seen, it's very basic. Okay, they are not going to ask you what Rule 22 says and what Rule 22A talks about, because that is, you are not required to remember that, because that is a part of service rules. That is not any act which is a parent act. Okay, that is not something like Constitution or your IPC or something like that. Just remember the numbers. Okay, we don't need to know what 22 and 22 is talking about. I'm mentioning every time that this is important. No. These rules are not created by governor. These rules are done as a subordinate legislation under this parent act of Andhra Pradesh Education Act. Just pay attention to whenever that I'm teaching, like it says parent act is Andhra Pradesh Education Act. Okay, under that reservation is provided under Rule 22 and 22A of Andhra Pradesh State and Subordinate Service Rules. Right? So this is the parent act under which they created the service rules, which is a subordinate legislation. And of that, these Rule 22 and 22A are there. Okay, we don't need to know what it says. And yes, you need to know Article 309, because under Article 309, they framed this rule. Okay, and what 309 says, that is why I asked you to keep the bare act open and then just check, turn to 309 and just see what this is a 150 pages judgment, guys. I mean, that's something And if you would read this judgment, I'm sure that you are not going to understand anything out of it, because this judgment is very incoherent. There is no connection of anything to anything else. So if there are concepts, I'm explaining that, and whatever is important, you just need to remember. But yes, you don't need to remember the service rules and subordinate legislations. But if it is talking about constitution such as Article 309 or Article 244 or 371D, then you need to remember that. Okay, like 301 basically talks about the recruitment and conditions of service of persons serving the union or a state. So it talks about the service rules. So whenever there are any service rules being made by the government, that is always being done under Article 309. Okay. And I'm not reading a bad text, by the way. This is what from the judgment I have made it on my own. You will not find the same text in the judgment. If you could see that, I have already sent this document and the judgment to sir, and you can just check out, cross check whether it matches with the text that is given in the judgment, just to make it very simple and to make sense out of it. I have made this, so it is not just a bad text reading. Okay, but whenever there are concepts, I am explaining that. But whenever there are no concepts, I'm just skipping it, because I don't think we need to go into the arguments of the respondents and petitioners, and it will be very difficult for me to cover all the cases. All right. Okay, now it is saying that the, I think we have seen this. Okay, remember Article 46 of the Constitution, that is DPSP. What it says, because if you have the bare text, just have a look at it so that you will remember it next time. It just says that the promotion of educational and economic interest of the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other weaker sections. Okay, and that is the reason the respondents are taking records of Article 46, and they are saying that it is achieving the purpose of Article 46. For the sake of giving submissions, they are saying this. Now, schedule, but Article 46 never says that you give 100% reservation to tribal people, so let it violate Article 14 as well. No, that is not possible. Okay. Now, Schedule 5 under Article 244(1) of the Constitution is part of the original text. Hence, it must not be tested on the touchstone of the basic structure violation. They are giving this argument because of Article 244. 244 talks about, as I mentioned, that about the scheduled areas and administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas, and it basically talks about the provisions of the 5th schedule, which will be applicable to the administration and control of the scheduled areas and scheduled tribes in any state. However, there are certain exceptions that you need to remember, that it won't be applicable to the states of Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. And okay, and this subclause 2 of 244 talks about the 6th scheduled area. All right, so they're saying that as it is a part of the Constitution, then how would it violate Article 244? Okay, so Schedule 5 is the part of the original constitutional text, and therefore it does not violate the basic structure doctrine. They also argued by referring to the decisions of this court that the constitutional amendments which happened post 1973, they can be struck down if they violate the basic structure doctrine and not the original text of the Constitution. So they're also making this argument that whatever the decisions the court gave, okay, whatever the amendments that were being made, but कब बने वो amendments? Post 1973. Okay, can be struck down. They can be struck down if they violate the basic structure doctrine. But we are saying that 244(1) and Schedule 5, they are the part of the original constitutional text. They are not something which happened after 1973. Why 1973? Because of Keshwananda Bharati. Okay. So they're saying that कि post 1973 के बाद जो भी होगा, you can struck it down if it violates the basic structure doctrine. But Article 244(1) and Schedule 5, they are there when the Constitution was being made, and it was a part of the original text. So why are you saying that it is violating the basic structure doctrine? They are making this submission. Okay. Now the governor has power to frame the regulations, and the power extends to subordinate legislation also. Now, why they're saying that? Because petitioner said this is not this is not something which is made by the legislature, and this is a subordinate legislation. So the governor cannot make any regulation with respect to subordinate legislation. That's what petitioner said. Now respondents are saying the governor has a power to frame the regulations. Okay, and that power also extends to subordinate legislation. And subordinate legislation has to be treated as part of the legislation itself. And regulations must be treated. So they are saying that subordinate legislation is a part of the legislation, and regulation, whatever the regulation the government is making, they are the part of the statute itself, which means they're just saying that the governor can make any regulations, even though they are subordinate legislation regulation, they can be done under Schedule 5 of paragraph 5. Okay, so the power to modify and create exceptions in exceptional circumstances to provide 100% reservation is permissible. So they're just saying that 100% reservation is possible. Now there were questions, there were basically 4 questions before the court. Why? Because the court was faced with the question whether 100% reservation in public employment for the post of teachers in the scheduled areas of Andhra Pradesh was constitutionally valid. As they provided 100% reservation, obviously the constitutionality of it came before the court. And the court framed the following issues. And what were these issues? First issue was, what is the scope of paragraph 5(1), Schedule 5 to the Constitution of India? Under that, there were other questions. First being, does the provision empower governor to make a new law? Governor नया law बना सकता है नहीं. Second, does the power extend to subordinate legislation? हमने ऊपर देखा, petitioners are saying no, respondents are saying yes. Now, can the exercise of the power conferred therein override fundamental rights guaranteed under Part 3? Now they're saying if the governor is exercising the power under Schedule 5, then can it also override the fundamental rights which are there under Part 3? And does the exercise of such a power override any parallel exercise of power by the president under Article 371D? We have seen in the beginning that there was a presidential order made under Article 371D, right? And if governor is making certain other regulations or certain rules or any, if he's exercising any power under paragraph 5, then is it possible for governor to override certain powers which were already exercised by the president under Article 371D? Second issue was that whether 100% reservation is permissible under the Constitution, and third was whether the notification merely contemplates a classification under Article 16(1) and not reservation under Article 16(4). Okay, and whether the conditions of eligibility, that is origin and cutoff date, to avail the benefits of reservation in the notification are reasonable. In this case, they actually set origin as an eligibility criteria. Like if you are staying in a particular area, then only you are eligible. Okay. They also imposed cutoff date, which means like if that date, I'll come to it. But they were saying that the people before 7th February 2021 are allowed to apply for the employment reservation, and people after 7th won't be allowed to apply for employment or the reservation. So these clauses were there also. These clauses were present in that government order, and that is the reason this issue also came up. And also they were talking about Article 16(1). I mean, ये reservation किस में होगा? Are you giving this reservation under Article 16(1) or are you giving this reservation under Article 16(4)? So now let's see judgment kya tha. Okay. Now first issue was, what is the scope of paragraph 5(1) of Schedule 5 to the Constitution of India? And under that there was another question. क्वेश्चन 3 is whether the notification, जो भी गवर्नमेंट ने नोटिफिकेशन निकाला था, वो नोटिफिकेशन जो है वो 16(1) के अंडर ही क्लासिफिकेशन कर रहा था, and it is not just talking about the reservation under article 16(4). You will understand what the court is talking about this when we'll come to issue 3. Now court ने बोला कि the fifth schedule finds reference in article 244. We have seen article 244. मैंने बताया था कि वो उसका clause 1 जो है वो fifth schedule के लिए applicable है except few states, and 2 is for sixth schedule. So it is saying that ठीक है, fifth schedule is there in article 244, and article 244 deals with the administration of scheduled areas and tribal areas, and it is provided that this is important. That's the reason I have made it bold. It is provided that the provisions of schedule 5 shall apply to the administration of scheduled areas. Okay, so 244 does say that it let me open that again. The provision of fifth schedule shall apply to the administration and control of the scheduled areas and tribal areas in any state. Right? So that's what even the court, the judges are seeing. They're also seeing that this is what para 5 of schedule 5 is. It just an bare text, so I'm not going into that. We have already read this. Now they're also saying that paragraph 5(1) of schedule 5 does not confer upon governor a power to enact a law. Okay, so they are saying that judges are saying paragraph 5 जो है schedule 5 का, it is not conferring upon a governor any power. It is not giving governor any power to enact a law. Governor cannot enact a law under paragraph 5 of schedule 5, but to direct that a particular act of parliament or the state legislature shall not apply to a scheduled area or any part thereof, or shall apply with exceptions and modification as may be specified in the notification. But they're saying that the governor can direct certain, that he can say that, okay, this act of parliament or this act of state legislation, it will not apply to this particular scheduled area or any part, but he cannot make a law, right? He cannot make a law, but he can say that this act will apply here or this act will not apply here, whether that act is of parliament or of state legislature. Next, the governor is not authorized to enact a new act. Okay, he is not at all authorized to enact a new act under the provisions contained in paragraph 5(1) of schedule 5, right, of the constitution. So areas reserved for the governor under the provisions of paragraph 5 is prescribed. Paragraph 5 has already said that governor can do this and that, and that is the reason if you read paragraph 5, the governor cannot make a new law. Even he cannot act beyond its purview and has to exercise power within the four corners of the provisions. Okay, which means that paragraph 5 has set out its limit, the governor's powers limit. Whatever is given in the paragraph 5, he has to act within that. He cannot just go beyond paragraph 5 of schedule 5. He cannot just see that these powers are also there. So paragraph 5(2) of schedule 5 deals with the power of the governor to make regulations for the peace and good government in a scheduled area of a state, right? And the governor has to obtain the advice of the tribes advisory council in matters pertaining to paragraph 5(2) if it has been constituted. Just a minute. I'm so sorry, just give me a minute. So governor cannot make a law, okay, and whatever there, the area is reserved for the governor to make laws under paragraph 5, and he cannot just go beyond whatever is prescribed under paragraph 5 of Schedule 5. Now, paragraph 5(2) of Schedule 5, it basically deals with the power of the governor to make regulations for the peace and good government in the scheduled area. And the governor has to obtain the advice of the Tribes Advisory Council. Without taking the advice and the consent of the Tribes Advisory Council in the matters which are related to paragraph 5(2), if it has been constituted. Now, it is not mandatory that every now and then governor has to take and obtain advice of Tribes Advisory Council. But if that Tribes Advisory Council is constituted, I mean it is present there in that scheduled area, then governor has to obtain the advice of that TAC. And if it is not there, then it is not required. But whatever the matters which are given under 5(2), and what are those matters? I have already mentioned. Prohibit or restrict the transfer of land. आप किसी को उस जगह में जो scheduled tribe का area है वहाँ पे आप you cannot allow such transfer of land, or you cannot prohibit the transfer of land. You cannot regulate the allotment of land. Everything that is you cannot regulate. He can regulate the allotment of land to members of the scheduled tribes, and he can regulate the carrying on of business as money lender by persons who lend money to members of the scheduled tribes in such area. So under these three things, the governor has got power to for the peace and good government. Okay, and he can just whatever the mention in ABC clause, he can do that. And if there is a TAC, then he has to obtain the permission whenever he's going to act on ABC. But if TAC is not there, then governor can do that on his own. Now, paragraph 5(3) provides that while making any such regulations as mentioned in paragraph 5(2), the governor has the power to repeal or amend any act of parliament or the legislature of the state, or any existing law which is for the time being applicable to the area in question, but that is for peace and good governance of the scheduled area. And the regulation made by the governor to be effective is required to be assented by the president, and prior assent of the president is mandatory for regulation to be put into effect. Now, paragraph 5(3) basically says, if governor wants to make any regulation, and what regulations are those? Those regulations which are given in paragraph 5(2). If governor is thinking of making any regulations under paragraph 5(2), then the governor has the power to repeal. He can repeal or amend any act of parliament, but that is for only paragraph 5(2). Okay. पैराग्राफ 5(2) में जो कुछ भी दिया गया है उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट कैन मेक रेगुलेशंस, एंड फॉर दैट ही हैज द पावर टू रिपील or amend any act of parliament or the legislature of the state or any existing law, right? But that is, he can do that only for the peace and good governance of the scheduled area. If it is not for the peace and good governance of the scheduled area, then he has got no power to repeal or amend any act of parliament or the legislature of state. That is a rider. This is a rider, that peace and good governance of the scheduled area is a rider. If it is for that, then he can repeal or amend any act of parliament or the legislature of the state. But that is under paragraph 5(2), not paragraph 5(1). Okay. And if the governor is making any kind of regulations, then that regulation can be made effective only if the president gives his assent to it. Okay. If president is not giving assent, then whatever the regulations being made by the governor will not be effective, right? So president's assent is mandatory for any regulations which is being made by the governor, and if governor wants to put that in effect, then he has to take the assent of president. So that's our paragraph 5(3). Now the court referred to many case laws here, and they are important for examination point of view. So there are many things given, but I have just made it one liner so that you can remember it, and these are very, very important cases. First case is Jatindra versus province of Bihar, 1949 case. It talks about the power of the governor under paragraph 5 is a legislative power, and governor is empowered to change or modify the provisions of the act or the section as he deems fit by way of issuing a notification. Now see, this is 1949 case, and during that time they are saying